What is up, people? So you've just tuned in to Tanaka TV, the best and future biggest fight channel on YouTube, and we're going to get right into it. I just saw on UFC News that Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa is set to go away, I think, in February. And I think this is going to be a phenomenal matchup. It's definitely an interesting matchup, people. And I'm just going to put it this way. I think Paulo Costa is going to win this matchup. I think when it comes to Robert Whittaker, if we're talking even 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I might be choosing a different person. But I think Paulo Costa, or Robert Whittaker rather, is a bit past his prime. In the last couple of performances that I've seen from Robert Whittaker over maybe the last 2 years or so, it hasn't been looking like the typical Robert Whittaker that we've seen from the past. We're talking about a dude who's explosive, a dude who has a chin, he's tough, he has good wrestling, a very well-rounded martial artist, and I think no matter what age, that well-roundedness as a martial artist does not go away. However, the thing that I start to see go away from fighters, especially as they kind of age in fight years, is their chin, and Robert Whittaker has become a bit chinny. You know, when he gets touched pretty solid on the chin, he starts to wobble a little bit, and Robert Whittaker wasn't really typical of that. I mean, we've seen it a little bit in the past, especially when he went against a person like Yoel Romero, that which people believe to be one of Robert Whittaker's best performances. I think it's one of his best performances, if not his best performance. But if we got that version of Robert Whittaker for this fight, I would say Robert Whittaker would probably win. But I don't believe we're going to get that version. And I think Paulo Costa is probably entering towards his prime, or is right around the middle of his prime. And so I think it's a really bad timing for Robert Whittaker to go up against somebody like Paulo Costa. We were expected to see Paulo Costa face off against Khamzat Chimaev, I think, what was that, about 6 months ago or so, and that fight did not come to fruition. So now we're about to see this matchup, and so skill for skill, I would still put Robert Whittaker probably above Paulo Costa, but I think that that's not going to be the big factor here. I think Paulo Costa, like I said, he's in his prime. I think that his power and his explosiveness is going to cause Robert Whittaker problems, and ultimately going to probably put Robert Whittaker away. And I think within probably 2 rounds. I wouldn't see this fight going past 2 rounds. I think Paulo Costa, he typically starts off fairly well. I mean, when he went against a person like Izzy, I think that Izzy posed a lot of different obstacles for Paulo, and he couldn't really get off. He couldn't really find comfort in that fight, as many fighters can't really seem to do against Izzy unless you're an elite striker as well, or somebody who can put on some sort of pressure like Sean Strickland did. And Robert Whittaker, he tends to be a little bit counter-punchy, and his boxing isn't as clean as I would like it to be. Robert Whittaker doesn't really couple together his punches very well. He tends to lean forward a lot with especially his right hand, I believe, because he's not a, I don't believe he's a lefty, and so he tends to lead with that jab, which his jab is really solid. I'll give him that. When it comes to his striking, his jab is probably some of my favorite out of his striking capabilities, but he doesn't really couple it with anything. Now, I do like Robert Whittaker's head kicks as well. He's really able to hide that jab, or that head kick, with the jab, and I think that that's a very nice mix. He's a really fast head kick, and that could get the job done alongside his wrestling. I just don't see it being the probable ending to this matchup. I see Paulo Costa finding comfort, because Robert Whittaker is probably not going to put the pressure on him that I would like to see from him. And I see Paulo Costa hitting him with some really hard shots and eventually hurting him and putting him away. I don't know how many more fights we're going to see from Robert Whittaker as far as him being at his peak. I think that those days are leaving us. But I mean, Robert Whittaker was a problem when he was in his prime. There are fights that don't really come to mind right now because it has been a while since I've seen Robert fight and be successful in a fight. Didn't he just lose to, who was it? Duplessis? I think he just lost to Duplessis. I really think that Paulo Costa is a bad matchup for Robert Whittaker. And so it's gonna be interesting. Now, as far as Paulo Costa, do I think that he's a championship caliber fighter? At this moment, no, I don't. I don't believe that he is. I think that Paulo Costa has what it takes as far as the striking goes. Now, Paulo Costa could possibly beat Sean Strickland. I could see that happening. I think it would be the right time for Paulo Costa to try to get that strap. But as far as the caliber of fighter that I see Paulo Costa right now, I don't really see it unless, like I said, he fights somebody like Sean Strickland. And that is no hit to Sean Strickland. I think that he's a very well-rounded fighter himself. I just think Paulo Costa's dark horse capability is his power and his explosiveness and his ability to just get off. I mean, when you see his frame, you see his ability to explode, and he's able to couple together punches. And I can see this fight being a very boxing-centric fight, and I don't think that that's the fight that Robert Whittaker wants to be in. If Robert Whittaker is going to win this fight, if I were Robert Whittaker's coach, I would say, hey, we're going to grapple, we're going to wrestle. We're not going to allow Paulo Costa to get off anything. We're going to be straight in his face, but not in a striking facet. We're going to couple together punches and grapple, clinch, tire Paulo Costa, make him feel your weight, and we're going to try to win by ground and pound, by submission. That is what I think Robert Whittaker's way of winning this fight. However, I just don't personally see that happening. And so, comment down below, people, what you think about this newly mentioned, this newly announced fight. It's going to be an interesting matchup. If I had to give the odds, I would give it, out of 10, in this current space, I'd give it 7-3-7 going to Paulo Costa. Now, that leaves a 30% chance for Robert Whittaker to win this fight, which I think is fair in my mind. So, like I said, comment down below, people, what you think about this newly announced fight. It's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be amazing. Comment down below also what you would like to see next from this channel. I'm really trying to expand this channel. If you want to see me talk about more sports, I'm not really hip to a lot of other sports. I do watch a bit of basketball. I'm not sure if my fan base would be even interested in hearing that. I have other things that I want to talk about too, as far as the martial arts movie space. And so I just want to thank you guys for supporting me. I want to thank the new subscribers for supporting me. Also, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I have the Christmas, I'm looking a little Christmassy today, okay? Got the turtleneck on, it's cold outside, all right? Got the red on. A little drip for y'all. So, I'll catch you guys on the next one. You just tuned in to Tanaka TV. Peace.